Good morning and welcome to our Facebook Live this morning. I'm Pam Parker from GoErie.com and Erie Times News, and I'm here with Linda Stevenson from Athena Erie, Athena Powerlink, Athena Everything. And today we're going to discuss not only what Athena is, but we're also going to tell you about the annual luncheon, which takes place next Thursday. That's a week from today, October 25th. Starts at 11 a.m. and ends at 1:30, and it's interactive. We're going to tell you about that. But first, we're going to tell you a little bit about Linda. And I've known Linda now for, I can't even remember how many years, but she has been involved with Athena for a long time. She's retired, a retired vice president from banking. And Linda, tell us a little bit about how you got Athena started and why.
Well, I actually, like Pam said, I was in banking for 47 years. And while one of my jobs when I was in banking, I ran the Small Business Administration program. And in running that, I realized that women were going into business in record numbers, but their growth was not as much as their male counterparts. And so I started kind of focusing on women as a source of business for my bank, actually. And a friend introduced me to the Athena Powerlink program. And from there, the rest was history. I actually brought the program to Erie with the intention of introducing it to the community leaders and saying, hey, here's a great program. My bank will underwrite the cost of the program. We need somebody to run it. And I pulled together an amazing board of people, went through the training process, and then they said, well, who's going to run this? And I kept my head down on purpose. And it didn't work, because then I heard all the eyeballs clicking, and I guess it was mine to take. So that was 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And little did I know, I really had not the vision or would have never anticipated how far Athena would go in the community of Erie. It's a national and international program, and but in Erie, I'm very proud to say, is one of the most successful cities in the United States. And I'm not saying that. That has been said by the founder of Athena.
And that's fabulous. And I'm sure you've heard of Athena Powerlink, and that is one of the greatest programs where a lot of the entrepreneurs are helped with advisory panels, and I've served on some of the advisory panels, and some of the great businesses that are involved. Why don't you name a couple of the people this year, and then I'll talk about a few of the people that I worked with that I'm so excited they've done so well.
Well, we've actually taken 47. We've had 47 Athena Powerlink panels since inception of the program, and and I will say this is the other unique thing that I'm really proud of. Of that 47 businesses in the 20 years, we only have 3 that are still not in business. I don't know if any economic program can post that kind of number. So it says, that tells you how effective the program is, and the fact that there are so many amazing people in our community, men and women, that will give up their time and talent to help these women business owners grow. And this year we have, I know I'm going to draw a blank on this, but we have 2 women going through the program, and one is a bed and breakfast, Great Arbor Bed and Breakfast, Peggy Haas, and the other one is, I'm just drawing a blank.
I'm drawing a blank too.
Isn't that terrible?
But I
can tell you some other businesses that we've taken. More Research is one of our success stories. Provider Resources, KSCR with Joyce Miller. But there are just a number of amazing. Brenda Bennett from Transportation Solutions, and she is going gangbusters. Her business is expanding from just not driving schools. Now she's doing notary work.
Oh yeah, and she's everything, taking the driving tests, and yep.
But the Athena Powerlink program really doesn't produce leaders, it grows leaders, because they already are these are not startup businesses. These are successful women business owners,
right? But
they know they want to get to the next level. So
right.
How do they do that? And they go through the Athena Powerlink program. We provide them with an amazing team of advisors. And
it's all free.
And it's all free.
Yeah.
I mean, and the value of receiving these panels anywhere from $50,000 to $70,000 free service. Where else can you get that?
We have a question.
We have a question.
One woman says, "Good morning. This sounds amazing. I've never heard of it. Is there a website I can do some research?"
Absolutely. Go to athenaerie.org and click on the Athena Powerlink program. There's a lot of information there. You could also, it also has my contact information, so if you want to get more direct, after you review it and get an understanding, but please don't hesitate to reach out to me and I would take you through that process.
And one of the things, annually you choose the businesses to be involved in the Athena Powerlink, correct?
Yes.
And what time of the year does that happen again?
Well, right now, we actually, applications were due in October 14th.
Okay.
So we are already in the process of selecting the women that will go through the program for 2019. And we can do any number. We've done as little as 1 a year and as many as 5 a year.
I remember when she did 5. That was a lot.
Yes, it was. And that's literally putting 50 people, 50 advisors.
Right.
But the thing of it is, this is the other thing that's unique about Erie, and what I'm proud about Erie is the fact that it's not hard to get 50 people to give of their time. I mean, who ever heard of bankers and attorneys and CPAs to give up their time free? But they do, and they do it willingly because it's a program, it's what's in it for me. Everybody walks away with something in this program. Those people that act as advisors are getting so much out of it themselves because they're hearing all this advice from, everybody's hearing the same thing, so everybody really grows from the program.
And there are men involved in this also. There are plenty of great guys who have been involved in all of the advisory panels and your governing body. And so we want to make sure that everybody knows there are plenty of great guys involved in this. And I know a lot of them. And I had worked with Leah O'Connell when she owned Yield Sweet Shop, and Sabrina Fisher, who is now with the Erie County, and she owned Sassy Peacock. She has now sold that. But you get to meet those people and all the people who work on those things. And you're right, there's some really exciting things going on in there. Why don't we switch gears and go to the luncheon and talk a little bit about that. There's a luncheon every year, but every other year it is the Athena Leadership Luncheon, in which I know Athena uses the terminology of emerging leader and established leader, but I usually say mentor and mentee because it means more to me. And I've been involved in several of those, and this year it is the mentor-mentee, established leader, and emerging leader luncheon. And why don't we tell people a little bit about what they can expect if they attend this?
Well, as Pam mentioned earlier, it's very interactive. We have our warm-up speaker, who is Colleen Mesler, and she's going to give a 5-minute presentation, so she has to get a lot said in 5 minutes to get the ball rolling. And then we turn the program over to our facilitators, and we have 40 key women leaders in our community that are going to be the facilitators, and then we will discuss the 8 principles of leadership. And each facilitator has selected their favorite 2 that they want to talk about. And they're going to share, what they're going to do is they're going to be sharing their experiences and how that principle, say, like fierce advocacy, how did that affect your career and how did it affect, and certainly I'm a huge advocate of women, and that affected my career. By being an advocate for other women, that pushed my career forward. And had I not taken on the Athena program, I don't know where I would be at this point. It did change my life for sure. And that's what I like about Athena. It really does change everybody's life that's involved with it. But anyhow, so the program, those facilitators will be conducting an open conversation. They're going to share their experiences, and we're going to have all the experienced women sharing their experiences and how they got there, and just the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then we're going to be asking the emerging leaders, what are your challenges, and what are you up against, and what can we do to help you? So it's really about reaching out to one another and taking us to helping them become the leaders we all want to be. And to give you some idea of the names, we have Beth Burnside, Kelly Byers, Regine Cadrebone, Julie Chapona, Pam Parker. We have Courtney Stedding, Debbie Steiner, just to mention Kathy Dahlkemper, Marlene Moscow. We dragged her out of retirement, and but it's going to be a great time. And I'm going to tell you what, the energy is unbelievable. And we will end promptly at 1:30. But to end at 1:30, we need a stun gun to get the people to leave because everybody gets so excited because of the energy. Because it's a time, and it's the only event that Athena has where no men are allowed. Because we really want the women to open up and just be themselves and just let it loose. without any discomfort in it. And let me tell you, they do let it loose.
They do, and it's a great discussion. And in the 2 different groups that I've had, I'm still very good friends with a lot of the women, and I had mentioned several times that we got together with the groups, my first group, Ainsley Brozig was in there, Athena Erie, I can't name everybody because I will forget somebody's name and be embarrassed. Jenny Weigold was in there, and Jenny Weigold is now one of the facilitators, and of course I'm one of the facilitators. But what happens is, in that group setting, you learn an awful lot about how other people are working through some business things that maybe you've had an opportunity to take a look at and think, well, what am I going to do about this? How am I going to deal with this problem? Liz Papas-Cicini, when she was one of our first people who had just great suggestions for how she was helping some of her other coworkers get through things, and it helped everybody at the table. And we share those things, and again, we kept going back and getting back together. And Christine Eddy is very good at reminding me we haven't gotten together in a while. So it's a really active discussion. It's not where you sit there and listen to someone speak. Heather Cass is coming with me, and we're hoping that we can get Sarah Gradsky in there too for that special event. And so it is electric, it is loud, so you must speak up and you have to listen. And there are 3 different things that people talk about. And what leadership looks like is one of the things that people talk about, which is a very interesting aspect. I know a lot of the women at my first table, or it was the second table, said their moms, which to me was really interesting. And then at first I was wondering if they were just saying it because the person before them had said it. But it was more of every single story was different, and you start to have great appreciation for your mom and their moms. And then a lot of people like you and I who did not have, there weren't a lot of mentors when we were young and coming up through the ranks. So it was, my picture of leadership came mainly when I was younger from men, because they were the leaders. So, and that's not a bad thing. It was a good thing, and you do learn things about leadership, and I tell my kids that all the time. You learn the good things, you learn the bad things, and you learn what kind of leader you want to be. A couple of the other programs of Athena, we wanted to mention the ACT crew. Oh wait, we have a question.
We have a question, and I think she's talking about the Powerlink. Do you have to reside in the Erie area to be eligible? I mean, for any of this? She's in Crawford. This particular person's in Crawford.
Typically Erie County. However, we have done a business in Crawford County before, and it's not that we wouldn't. It would take a special discussion. I'm never going to turn any business away that we can help, because it really.
Oh no, she doesn't. I remember, Crawford.
Yeah,
great
exactly.
businesses in Crawford.
Yes,
great
absolutely.
businesses in Crawford.
So, but anyhow, with programs, and that's the other thing about Erie, we literally have 7 different Athena programs, something that's not going on anywhere else in the country. Just for some reason, it's just a solid program here in this community. And so the other programs, ACT, Athena's Circle of Trust, which is really a hybrid of a program that I picked up in Pittsburgh. A woman had this Circle of Trust program. I said, well, we need to bring that to Erie. So I brought her to Erie, had her talk about it, and the rest is history. We actually started out with one chapter, which is 20 young women. Mm-hmm. These are women between the ages of 24 and 34 that really are working on it. They want to hone their leadership and networking skills so they can be professionals, highly skilled professionals in the community. And so it's peer-to-peer mentoring. They bring guest speakers in to talk about leadership and just whatever they can share with them. And they are actually working on their 3rd chapter. So, that's quite impressive. And it tells you in our community just how hungry our young female professionals are to get ahead, and they want to learn more, and they are looking for mentors, or mentors or advisors, and you can have a formal mentor, you can have an informal mentor. There's no absolute solution, but it's an important factor. So that's the other program, ACT, and then
and to interrupt you just for a second, all of these groups, when they discuss things, it's when you share things, there's a secrecy involved. So it isn't like if Linda tells me something about her career that she's unhappy with or something like that, or that she knows something that's going on at her company that she doesn't want anybody to. There's a realm of secrecy there that you realize you're not going to share this. You're going to help each other and you're going to build each other up. And also, all of these programs are free. This is not a membership organization. There are plenty of those, and they're all great. All of the organizations that I belong to, and I know you probably belong to 100, that, you know, there are memberships and membership fees, and this is not. These are meetings that when you get together with women, they're organized, but there's not an actual fee to be a member. Of course, there's a fee for the luncheon. There's if you're going to go somewhere, obviously you're going to pay to attend something, or if you sit at a winery or a coffee shop, or, you know, those types of things. Mm-hmm. But it's a free organization, and getting involved in it, it's all volunteer.
Yes, absolutely. And you're right. I'm glad you brought that up, because I do get the question.
Yeah, how much is it?
How do I become a member? Well, it's not about being a member.
Right.
It's either you're a benefactor receiving an advisory panel, or you're part of a committee or something like that. Mm-hmm. So then the other program, ACT, then we have the Advanced Athena Powerlink program. Mm-hmm. Our women that go through the Powerlink program, it's a one-year program, when they're done with the program, when they graduate, then we bring them together. And again, it's peer-to-peer mentoring. These are women that have been through the program, and now they continue mentoring themselves. Mm-hmm. And we meet once a month. And one of the things that most of the programs through Athena, we have what we call hold harmless and confidentiality agreements. And people that are involved in this already understand confidentiality. Mm-hmm. And realize that what they hear, because we're going to ask these women business owners to share everything, right, that they cannot repeat it ever. It's, you know, it's sealed. They would normally, that's part of their life anyhow. But to formalize it, we have a confidentiality agreement. And what is shared is not to be shared anyplace else. It's the same thing with ACT. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with the Advanced Athena Powerlink program. And then the other programs are we mentioned the Leadership Luncheon that's coming up on October 25th. But there's also the award program, which is the opposing year. And that is what it is. It's an award program for individuals that have achieved a certain level of success in their lives, that are professional excellence, but also, most importantly, helping women be greater leaders. Right. And we've honored 10 individuals so far in that program. And that, again, is a male or female. Right. Dick Wachter and Tom Kennedy both have received it, along with people like Pauline Messler and
Joyce
Savacchio. Yeah. There's Susan Grion and Tina Donikowski. So some impressive women and men. And and really, the award program, I think, is important in the fact that we're singling out people that are helping other women, and it's important that people realize how important it is that we support women.
And a lot of the leaders and the folks involved in this aren't looking for any accolades for doing these things. Mm-hmm. It's you'd be surprised if you walked into one of the meetings where there are huge presentations and you see bank presidents sitting there, and college presidents, and a variety of other folks, and again, men and women, all there and involved in this. A credit to Linda for getting all of this started and getting people involved. Even the sponsors, the number of sponsors that you have. How many sponsors are there this year for the luncheon?
We have 20 sponsors.
20?
And one of the criteria for sponsors, and I'm always insistent on this, is I only want sponsors that add credibility to the program, that have the same moral and ethical standards that Athena has. I want the sponsors to be representative of what Athena is, and I'm very honored at the caliber of our sponsors. All 4 universities sponsor the Athena programs. We have 5 banks in Erie that sponsor the programs. Just amazing people. Lord Corporation. So we have very distinguished sponsors, but they reflect the caliber of Athena.
And the Erie Times News and Go Erie is also a sponsor.
Yes,
Make sure I get that plugged in there for us.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else that we want to let people know about coming to luncheon? I mean, I'm sure if they're going to reserve, they need to reserve pretty quickly. And did we mention that it's $40 per person, or if you sign up as a duo, an emerging leader and an established leader, it's $75 for the payer, so you save $5 there. But there is no reason to think that you can't sign up if you don't have a person to sign up with you. That's my first year that I was a facilitator. My entire table was mentees or emerging leaders, and it was a blast, an absolute blast.
Well, and the other thing is, I'd say sign up as soon as possible.
Right.
Because what we've been doing is once you sign up, we have your name on our list, and then you're going to get a notice every week. And with that notice, you're going to be getting one of the principals. So you're going
Right.
to hear about what the principals are in advance. Because what you want to do when you come there, we're going to have a chart there when you come in, and there will be members from ACT there to greet you and to give you instructions. But you do not have an assigned seat. You have to go in and select your seat, and you're going to select your seat based on either that's the person you want as your
Right.
facilitator, like you may want to be at Pam Parker's table, so you're going to search her out. Or it may be not the person. You might want to be searching out what principles you want to talk about. Do you remember what your principles are going to be?
I'm fierce advocacy, but I've done just about all of them, and some of these might sound like they're a little unusual, but they're just two-word descriptions of things. I've done celebrations, I've done collaboration. Celebration is one, right?
Yes, celebration and
collaborate.
joy.
And when you put those into a perspective for a business, what's really interesting is that, again, when you have 8 people sitting at a table and you get a totally different look at what folks are talking about and what they celebrate. The last time that we had a gathering, we had some people who were expressing what they celebrated. There were 2 women who had celebrated the fact that they had managed to introduce job sharing in a place that you would not have expected job sharing to be introduced, and they were very successful. And we were all sitting there, it's like you want to hear more, but we are under time constraints, so that's one of the reasons that a lot of us get back together, so that you can say, wow, that's really exciting that they did that, and they were so excited about it. And then we have folks who talk about celebrating things other than what you might traditionally celebrate at work, different things like their education and how their education has helped them and how they managed to do those things. So that was just the celebration one. The collaboration, I will never forget some of the folks saying that in order to get to know their employees or their peers and their colleagues, how do you do that when you go someplace that it is a new place or you're the new kid on the block, and how do you introduce yourself to those folks? And some of the suggestions were things I never would have thought of. And then some of them were so simple. It was just the one woman had said, she said, I just make sure I walk in and say good morning to everybody. Just, I catch their eye, which I think is what Joe Schember is doing now, that it's good morning, that you speak and you say hello. And when she said that, I thought, it's just those simple things, but if you don't think of that, it's nice to hear somebody else say how it worked for them. And there are times when I'm thinking, in the newsroom, you wouldn't necessarily walk through and interrupt people and say good morning, but in specific settings, I'm thinking, what a great idea, why not?
Mm-hmm. That's the thing, yeah. And I think the other thing is that, especially for the emerging women leaders,
Mm-hmm.
to be in that environment and everybody, everybody's out thinking, you hear, you should get a mentor, it'll change you.
Right.
Get a mentor. Well, how do you get a mentor? Well, tell you what, I would start with coming to this luncheon, because there's going to be a lot of experienced women there, and they're there because they care,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a willingness to help. And so if you're there, it's a chance to meet people and maybe make a connection. You might even end up connecting with another emerging leader,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the thing. Mentors and mentees can be any age. They can be any combinations. A lot of times you may be a mentor, but you also are a mentee.
Right.
And what I've found is that when you're, and I've never formally mentored, you just kind of do what you do, but you find yourself, as you're helping someone else, you're helping yourself too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that's what this is about, is that those who give, get.
Right, right.
And it's a great program, a great opportunity. It's uniquely different. I don't know if it's ever really been done any, other than through the Athena program. It's such a basic concept, but it does work, and it's a great opportunity for the Erie women to participate.
And this luncheon is something that occurs throughout the country this time of year, so we're not alone.
No, there's I believe almost over 100 cities that will do this. We initially started, it was all done on the same day,
Mm-hmm.
in March, I think what it was. But each community then has taken it to where they need it to be. Like with us, we like to keep it around in the September, October framed, so people know to count on Athena something. And I will throw something out here that probably, I'm going to say it, then I have to do it. And that's how I heard Tom Kennedy say that at one time, and I went, that's what I do. If I say it out loud, then I have to do it, and I can't back out. So what I'm looking at with Athena this year is something new. I'm thinking we're going to be doing a speaker series, quarterly speaker series, because on highly professional things, on the business side of women, and so we're going to work on that. So.
And that started a little bit already with the Women's Roundtable.
It did, yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So
We already had the first one, and that was on dealing with conflict. Right?
Yes.
It was on conflict. And
we did how to do the media. We did that together.
Oh, yes, we did that. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Yeah, that's right. So actually, it's the second one.
And Debbie D'Angelo and Lori Root. We did a foursome on that one.
Right. Mm-hmm. So that's the next thing to come from Athena. So I just say, stay tuned. Also, go on to athenaerie.org and register on our site, so you'll get current events, what's going on with Athena, so you can, if you're getting the newsletter, you'll know what's going on, and there might be something there coming up for you.
Right, and there are a lot of informal events and gatherings. Lori Root has a Wednesday gathering once a month. She and Robin Shepner, I believe, and they invite folks to that. And you have a favorite quote that I always like to hear, and I think that you should share it with...
Is the one from Madeline Albright?
Yes!
I heard her, I was at a conference in Philadelphia, and Madeline Albright was speaking, Secretary of State, and Madeline Albright, and she said that, and it stuck in my head, and I've used it. There's a special place in hell for those women who do not help other women.
That's something to remember. And to wrap up, we want to make sure that folks know. Is there anything else that I didn't ask you that you want to make sure people know?
No, I think we've caught all the programs, right?
Okay.
We got that. And just make sure that they know to register.
Right, register. And again, the luncheon is next week. It's next Thursday. Starts at 11. The doors open at 11. And
program starts promptly at 11:30.
Okay, and yeah, because I wanted to make sure we tell people that, because a lot of people might think you can kind of dawdle in at 11:30, but it will already be starting. Mm-hmm. And lunch is served while you'll be eating and talking. We don't waste any time at these events. And it is at the Bel Air, and it is $40, and you can sign up going to athenaerie.org, correct? So you can go there and sign up right now, and make sure that you do sign up quickly, because we want to make sure we get everybody in that we can, and it's a great time. It is just a couple hours of your day, and believe me, I've really learned something from it, and I'm going to grab that Sarah Grabsky and take her with me too. So and Heather Cass, and see a lot of our friends there. So we hope that you will join us, and we want to thank you, Linda, for coming in and doing this Facebook Live with us, and thanks, Sarah, for taking care of us here.
Thank you.